Yellowstone gets more than 4 million visitors every year. And while it's America's most famous national park, fame doesn't always mean it's the best. Some parks have bigger mountains, some have fewer crowds, some offer experiences you simply won't find anywhere near Old Faithful. So I started looking for national parks that many travelers rank even higher than Yellowstone. And what I found surprised me. These are 12 national parks that might deserve a spot above Yellowstone on your bucket list. Let's get started. Number 12. Great Basin National Park, Nevada. Few people realize one of America's most underrated national parks sits in eastern Nevada. And that's exactly what makes it special. Great Basin National Park is far from major cities and far from the crowds that fill parks like Yellowstone. The star attraction is Wheeler Peak, rising more than 13,000 feet above the desert floor. Ancient bristlecone pines grow here. Some of them are nearly 5,000 years old, making them among the oldest living organisms on Earth. Lehman Caves adds another surprise. Underground rooms filled with delicate formations hide beneath the mountains. And when the sun goes down, the park becomes even better. Great Basin has some of the darkest skies in America. Thousands of stars appear overhead. It's the kind of place that reminds you how quiet the world can still be. 11. Acadia National Park, Maine. Acadia proves that a national park doesn't need massive wilderness to leave an impression. Located on the rugged coast of Maine, it combines mountains, forests, rocky shorelines, and charming coastal towns into one compact package. Start your day on Cadillac Mountain. For part of the year, it's one of the first places in the country to see the sunrise. Then spend the afternoon exploring the carriage roads built by John D. Rockefeller Jr. The views constantly change. Ocean cliffs, dense forests, small lakes tucked between granite hills. And unlike Yellowstone, you never feel far from civilization. Bar Harbor sits right outside the park with restaurants, shops, and fresh lobster waiting after a day on the trails. Cadillac Mountain gets surprisingly chilly before sunrise, even in summer. In autumn, the foliage transforms the landscape into shades of red, orange, and gold. Number 10. Olympic National Park, Washington. Rainforest, mountains, rugged coastline. Most national parks focus on one landscape. Olympic somehow combines all three. Start in the Hoh Rainforest, where massive trees disappear beneath thick layers of moss. Then head west to the Pacific coast. Driftwood covers the beaches. Sea stacks rise from the surf. Waves crash against the shoreline. Head inland and you'll reach Hurricane Ridge. Snow-capped peaks stretch across the horizon. On a clear day, the views seem endless. What makes Olympic stand out isn't any single attraction. It's the variety. Few places allow you to experience rainforest, mountains, and coastline in the same weekend. And somehow, the crowds remain surprisingly manageable. 9. Lassen Volcanic National Park, California. Yellowstone gets all the attention for geothermal features, but Lassen has many of the same attractions with a fraction of the visitors. Steam vents hiss from the ground, mud pots bubble, boiling springs color the landscape, and unlike Yellowstone, you can often enjoy these places without fighting through crowds. The park also combines volcanoes, alpine lakes, forests, and waterfalls. Lassen Peak dominates the skyline. The hike to the summit isn't easy, but the views stretch for miles in every direction. If you're planning longer hikes, a lightweight day pack helps once you start gaining elevation. Lassen often gets overlooked because it's surrounded by more famous California destinations. That's a mistake. This is one of the most underrated parks in the country. 8. Grand Teton National Park, Wyoming. Here's something many Yellowstone visitors don't realize. One of America's most spectacular national parks sits right next door. Grand Teton National Park delivers one of the most dramatic mountain skylines anywhere in the United States. The peaks rise almost straight from the valley floor. No long foothills, no gradual transition, just mountains. Jenny Lake is one of the highlights. The hike toward Inspiration Point and Cascade Canyon gets even better the farther you go. Wildlife viewing rivals Yellowstone. Moose, elk, bears, and bald eagles are all common sightings. Yet everything is calmer here. The roads are quieter, the crowds are smaller, and the scenery never lets up. Many travelers come here as an addition to Yellowstone. Some leave wondering which park they liked more. 7. Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Tennessee, and North Carolina. This is the most visited national park in America, more visited than Yellowstone. And once you see it, that statistic starts to make sense. The Smokies are accessible, beautiful, and incredibly diverse. Rolling ridges stretch into the distance beneath a blue haze that gives the mountains their name. Cades Cove is one of the best places in the park. Deer graze in open fields. Black bears frequently appear along the valley floor. A simple pair of binoculars makes wildlife spotting much easier here. The park is also famous for its wildflowers, waterfalls, and scenic drives. One of Great Smoky's most unique events happens after dark. For a few weeks each year, thousands of synchronous fireflies flash in unison through the forest. It's one of the rarest natural displays in North America. 6. Canyonlands National Park, Utah. Imagine the Grand Canyon. Now remove most of the people. That's Canyonlands. This park feels enormous, because it is. The landscape stretches across vast canyons, mesas, buttes, and desert wilderness. Island in the Sky offers some of the most dramatic overlooks in the Southwest. Mesa Arch has become an iconic sunrise location for photographers. Then there are the more remote districts, the Needles, the Maze, places where solitude still feels possible. Yellowstone is highly developed. Canyonlands remains rugged and remote. The farther you go, the more isolated the landscape becomes. And that's exactly why many travelers fall in love with it. Number 5. North Cascades National Park, Washington. This might be the most overlooked national park in America, yet it contains some of the most dramatic scenery on this list. Jagged peaks dominate the skyline. More than 300 glaciers cling to the mountains. Turquoise lakes fill the valleys below. Many people compare parts of the park to the Alps. The difference? Crowds. North Cascades receives only a fraction of the visitors found in Yellowstone. Some trails remain surprisingly quiet even during summer. The drive along Highway 20 is spectacular on its own, but the real reward comes once you start hiking. Every turn reveals another mountain, another glacier, another view that hardly looks real, and somehow many travelers still haven't heard of it. 4. Glacier National Park, Montana. Some places exceed expectations. Glacier is one of them. The park combines towering mountains, crystal clear lakes, and some of the best hiking in North America. But the biggest attraction might be Going to the Sun Road, a 50-mile drive that many travelers consider the most scenic road in the country. The route climbs high into the mountains. Waterfalls spill down cliffs. Wildlife appears around unexpected corners, and every mile feels different from the last. Trails like Highline and Grinnell Glacier showcase the park at its best. If you're hiking here, comfortable hiking shoes quickly become one of the most important things you packed. The scenery is larger than life, and once you've experienced Glacier, it's easy to understand why people return again and again. Number 3. Zion National Park, Utah. If dramatic scenery is what you're after, Zion delivers. Massive sandstone walls rise thousands of feet above the canyon floor. The scale is difficult to understand until you're standing beneath them. Two experiences make Zion unforgettable: the Narrows and Angel's Landing. The Narrows takes you directly into the Virgin River. You spend much of the hike walking through the water, while canyon walls tower overhead. Angel's Landing offers something completely different: a narrow ridge, steep drop-offs, and a summit view many hikers consider unforgettable. Most hikers carry far more water than expected here. Summer temperatures climb quickly inside the canyon. Unlike many parks, Zion's shuttle system removes most traffic from the main canyon. The result is more immersive, more connected to the landscape. 2. Denali National Park, Alaska. Everything feels bigger in Alaska, and Denali is the perfect example. The park covers 6 million acres. One road runs through it. Most visitors explore by bus. The experience is less like sightseeing and more like entering true wilderness. Grizzly bears roam the tundra. Caribou move across open valleys. Moose feed beside rivers. And towering above it all is Denali itself. At 20,310 feet, it's the tallest mountain in North America. On clear days, the mountain dominates the horizon. Weather changes quickly here. Layers become essential once you're deeper inside the park. Few places make you feel smaller. Few places are wilder. And only one park on this list manages to beat it. Number 1. Yosemite National Park, California. Some places live up to the hype. Yosemite is one of them. The first view from Tunnel View feels almost unreal. El Capitan rises above the valley. Half Dome towers in the distance. Waterfalls spill from granite cliffs. And somehow, the reality exceeds the photographs. Yosemite Valley might be the most spectacular landscape in North America, yet the park extends far beyond the valley floor. Glacier Point offers one of the greatest viewpoints in the country. Tuolumne Meadows feels like a completely different part of the park. Then there's Half Dome, one of the most famous hikes in the world. The cables, the climb, and the summit view have earned legendary status among hikers. Yes, Yosemite gets crowded, but the scenery is simply that good. If Yellowstone introduced America to national parks, Yosemite is the place that makes people fall in love with them. Yellowstone remains one of America's greatest national parks, but these parks prove that incredible experiences exist far beyond Old Faithful. Some offer bigger mountains, some offer fewer crowds, and some seem like completely different worlds. Which one would you visit first? Let us know in the comments. And if you think Yellowstone is crowded, wait until you see our list of the least crowded national parks in America. Some of them receive a tiny fraction of Yellowstone's visitors. Click the video on your screen, and I'll see you there.